So the other thing I brought with me, because I am so certain I passed this out a number of times, but people still tell me, what? I never heard of that. How many people in this room know about this thing called the Diocesan Capital Reserve Funds Policy? Please raise your hand. You have got to be kidding me. Okay, here it is. So what this is we had a couple of parishes close. And we took the money from those parishes, and Diocesan Council decided what we wanted to do was put this into a fund and allow parishes throughout the diocese to apply for grants, non-assessable grants, because they are used for capital expenditures. And the diocese will award a grant in the amount of 50% of your project up to $10,000. And so I know that, let's see, who has used that here? Joetta, have you guys used it? You guys have used it? Okay, okay. How about from the user side? What would you like to say about this policy? Was it easy to apply? Was it useful? Was it
to apply? Yeah, and we got help on redoing our ramp going up to the front of the church and the whole front of the church project.
okay?
Yep, we needed 130 feet of new sewer line. And
Yes.
it was probably the only way we would have been able to do it. And having a porta potty in the churchyard for 6 weeks, I can't remember how long.
So you applied for it and received it?
It was easy to.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so all you do, and we have really cut the red tape on this, all you do is submit the information that we asked for on the back here, which is the bids for your project, what the source of the funds and the amount that the parish will use, and the amount you're requesting. And you send that in, and guess what? You send it to me, and I submit it to the finance committee. And there is a very fast turnaround on this, because we know, I'm pretty sure it seemed fast, I hope so. I know that the last thing you want to do is be waiting for the diocese to send you money, especially because I know that these contractors have a lot of business. And if you say, well, yeah, I'll have the money to you in March, it's like, good, we'll see you February 29th or 28th. And sometimes you don't want to wait. And so neither do we. So I turn this around as fast as I can. And it's usually, I would say, by the time you send it in, by the time we get it out to the finance committee, by the time we issue the check, by the time the bishop and I sign the check, it should be a week.
So Barb, it's eligible to all size parishes.
All size parishes. St. Michael's has applied for one and received it. Obviously, their project was big, so they got the $10,000. Most of the grants that we've given have been $10,000. And we still have, I believe, about $76,000 in this Capital Reserve Fund. So if you have something coming up, apply.
Just
Okay.
be aware, just a side note, you'll see it in the policy. You can only apply once in 3 years.
Every 3 years, that's right.
So, if you need $900, you might kind of hold off on a little bit because you might have a bigger project or, so just be aware that there's a 3-year term.
And I'm sorry to tell you, this policy has been in effect over 3 years. So now we're starting on round 2 of these grants. So very excited about this. I know that it doesn't seem like it, but the diocese is always very happy to lend a hand to the parishes, especially a financial hand. So please apply for the funds. It's just sitting in the bank. Okay, it doesn't do us any good. It just sits there. So please apply for it. Any questions on that policy? Okay.
So Barbara, so this peripheral reports, I just wanted to say that there have been a couple parishes each year that have had trouble filing online. And since it does have to be completely online, if you're having trouble with that, call the diocesan office.
Thank you.
So we can get the information.
Mhm. The last item I have here is the clergy compensation recommendation for 2025. And it includes clergy, meaning deacons and priests. So please, if you need this information, please take it. That is hot off the press. Just got it from the bishop Wednesday. Okay. So this is where we have audience participation. Yes.
How much are we paying for mileage? Has that gone up?
We won't know until December. That's when the IRS releases that guideline.
Okay.
Still 67.
Still 57?
67.
67.5 now.
And that only goes up once a year,
Once a
right?
year.
Yeah.
Mhm. So for the rest of the time that we have together, I'd like to open the floor to questions because this is a good time for you to ask me anything you want to know, or you can, talk amongst yourselves. And it's wonderful to have all of these people from all over the diocese together because it gives you an opportunity to meet with the treasurers, the other treasurers, or the other wardens inside your deanery, which is always a wonderful thing. You can partner up and if you need to do the audit of your books and you don't want to do it for your own parish, you can switch parishes and have somebody else do your audit and back and forth. And so that's always wonderful. If you want to figure out how to do something, I don't know what, raise money or whatever you're doing, it's always good. The more heads, the more ideas. So that's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And one of my favorite things about when I became the treasurer is the diocese that was this big has now become this big to me. And so I would like to see everyone kind of have that experience going forward. So what questions do you have for me?
It's kind of a more general question, but
Okay.
I was curious what software other
Oh,
parishes
good.
use,
That's a
because
great
the
question.
prices for QuickBooks is going up
Mhm.
each year, and you can only use a subscription now, you can't just buy it.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, does everybody use QuickBooks? Are there other things available?
No and yes. Don't use QuickBooks. Barb,
Use the 1980s Excel file.
No,
What-
but we are using that, and
Yeah.
now it's.
no, Barb showed me something called the Wave app.
The Wave app?
Mm-hmm. And for little bitty St. Paul's, it's brilliant.
The Wave app.
The
Yes.
Wave app.
And it's an
It's
online.
online,
Mhm.
it's free, and it's magic.
Oh, and it does all the parish.
Well, it does what St. Paul's needs to do.
So what does it do? Explain what it does.
It syncs with with our bank account. So when things get deposited, it looks at the bank account, and so I don't have to reconcile the bank account and then go into Wave. I can look at the checks there. It allows you to say, this check went for janitor, this check went for gas, this check went for electricity, this check went for clergy travel, this check went for, it gives you a way to split out all your pledge income. And if you want at the end of the month, it'll tell you whether you're in the red or the black and by how much.
Does it do like
Yeah.
employee type things?
That I don't know. We have none.
What about audits? Is it something where you can go have somebody else go through and audit
QuickBooks.
I think so, yeah, because it's, you just
just
look
went
like a
through ours,
checking
yeah.
account, yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's
So
pretty
for the little
robust.
places,
Yeah.
I think it might be really helpful, but.
The Wave.
WAVE.
Mhm.
So like you
You
can
go
go to
to
the
what?
app store?
It's
and-
waveapps.com.
It's a browser application.
Yeah, it's now a pinned tab in my browser, so I don't ever have to look at it.
Is it strictly for churches or?
No.
No.
No, it's
Nope.
for any business, okay.
And you can set up the individual categories as suit your needs to a large extent.
I helped Matt and St. Paul's get theirs set up, so it's pretty easy.
It might be slightly over dramatic, but I'm still alive today because of way that. When I inherited the treasurer position, the
So
chancellor will vouch for me.
what are you going to need QuickBooks specifically?
I think that's what had been used.
Right, and that's what we have too, and that's what they've used, and ours is older than the bejeebies, and it really needs to be updated, so I'm pretty excited about this.
Because you're still running a standalone QuickBooks on your computer. It's
Desktop?
not-
Yeah, and
it's
it
not
tells
part of
me, you're not supported, blah, 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 and it hasn't fallen apart, and I save a copy every time I touch it, and,
That's good.
I
Well
mean,
done.
things, if you can save it,
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't use QuickBooks, but I do run Quickens.
Mhm.
But it's an old copy that I can have standalone that doesn't have to be registered and it keeps everything in order,
Mhm.
but it's not online, it's not subscription service. It would do payroll, but
and that's quick ends.
it's just Quickens. It's more personal business finance versus, because QuickBooks can get real deep in the weeds with inventory and.
Right, there's a lot, that's right, and there's a lot of QuickBooks that I just go, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want that.
and there's really no reason to pay for all of that if you're not gonna use it. If you don't have 20 employees that you need to keep track of, you can do pretty well with one or two.
Mhm.
Now, this says that there's a starter plan that you can look into, and then you can upgrade to a pro plan, so I'm going to.
I'm not paying a cent.
Okay. So I'm going to assume at this point that if you upgrade, if you need maybe
In
payroll
the
Payroll
other
or
package,
something.
there's a whole long list of features on the left-hand side. I probably use one of them.
Okay.
Transactions.
Do you use QuickBooks Desktop?
Our secretary does the entering, but I believe it's, well, yes, but it's not we have to I don't know if she had to do it as a subscription or if we have to do it just buy a new one or something.
Okay, because there is QuickBooks Online,
And that
Which
may be
is-
what we're using.
which is subscription based, but there are different levels. So one level is a little bit more than the others, but you can also run payroll in that
Yeah, okay.
QuickBooks Online.
And I know we do
Mhm. Okay.
We just switched to subscription and we're hoping to use it as a selling point to get a new treasurer because they'd be able to use the
Hmm.
subscription at home.
Yes,
Because it would be online to log in, right?
yes,
Is that
yes, yep,
okay?
yeah. That's what the
Yeah,
diocese
so then they
uses.
wouldn't have to drive into church
Okay.
every time.
hmm That's what the diocese uses, so I can log in from home as well. I think you get 5, depending on what level of QuickBooks you use, QuickBooks Online, we can have 5 different users, so.
And that's the one with the fee though.
Well, yes, but
there's-
QuickBooks Desktop, I think, has an annual fee. And-
Desktop is going away.
Yeah.
It's
Is
totally-
it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's totally
Yeah.
unsupported. You can't ask questions. It's going away. They don't want it anymore.
Oh, I don't blame them.
There's
I moved all my
and-
clients to
so-
online.
There is a QuickBooks that I use for Learning Peace that's $35 a month, but there's no payroll.
We need payroll.
I don't think there's I don't bother with it. Look into it because I'm also going to sign up. I'm the treasurer for that and for the Treasure Valley Kiwanis.
Hmm.
And I'm going to move them over to that.
Mhm. And are they using desktop right now?
The Qantas are, yeah,
Mhm.
they've been using desktop for
Okay.
decades.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm moving them over.
Yeah. It's a,
Because I travel back east a lot.
oh, yeah.
And if I'm going to be back east and be expected to give a
Mhm.
financial report on
Mhm.
at a Zoom meeting,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's got to be online.
Well, they have a pretty slick process set up to move you from desktop to QuickBooks
Yeah.
Online.
If
So-
you would like to look at it, I have it pulled up right here.
So do
And that wave she just found is $16 a month for the pro plan. That's pretty darn cheap.
The wave.
Yeah.
$16.
So the tabs are sales and payments, purchases, receipts, accounting, banking, payroll, reports, online help, tax filing.
That's probably payroll taxes.
But it's but payroll was a tab on its own. It's a
It
tab
sounds
on its
like it,
own,
yeah.
right?
And this is the starter thing.
Oh, it is a starter deal?
Yeah,
It's still free?
I'm not
You
paying.
You're not paying?
I can't.
You know what?
A year.
That's right.
And that's on the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what the URL is, the wave?
Wave apps within
The Wave.
something that.
On my dashboard, it says next.waveapps.com, but
Okay.
that's,
You put wave apps, APPS.
yeah, and up here it says
But
St. Paul
you
Episcopal
don't
Church
use it.
No,
starter.
we use QuickBooks Online.
Do you use any credit cards?
No.
Okay.
But there's a little thing down here in the bottom that says accept credit cards and bank payments. Set up now. So
Yeah, so there is a charge for that, but of course, there's also a charge for the pro plan. It's just less.
For credit card usage on the pro
On
plan?
Wave,
And
yeah.
it gives me a little colored wheel that says what percentage it goes to all the different things, so. I'm sure it does way more than I know how. but-
Do you do a report to your vestry like every month that actually shows the numbers that were spent?
No,
that
we
month?
talk every Sunday.
Oh,
There's 4 of us.
yeah.
But you could.
We
It's
could,
a,
yeah.
it's a coffee
Yeah.
hour
Yeah.
deal, huh?
Yep.
That's one of the things I have quick.
Our vestry meets weekly.
Vestry of the whole, we call that, right?
I have Quicken on a standalone computer that got put on, we put it on back in 2013, I think, and then I got an Apple computer, so I've got 2 computer screens on my desk.
Hmm.
But the old one is not hooked to the internet, and I use, but then it seems like I haven't figured out how to make the reports to give to the vestry to say, this is where our money's going.
Mm-hmm.
This can do that.
Okay, that's one of the things.
Well, okay, maybe you guys can help me. But I use QuickBooks, to track all the spend. I make a separate form in QuickBooks for the financial report for the month of what I've spent and where it went.
Mm-hmm.
Is that normal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she says it's normal, so
I'm
that's
sure
good.
you go to the reports
Not
menu
in my
and
world.
run a P&L? Or is this a totally separate?
I do it totally separate.
Oh,
Do I need schooling?
well, no, not necessarily, but there is a,
Easier way?
so my other half tells me, always let the computer work for you. Don't you work for the computer. So there is a place in there to run a P&L inside QuickBooks.
Mhm.
Okay, so you can take a look if you want, and use desktop.
Right now, yeah, and I know we need to upgrade, and I
Mhm.
think that maybe we'll be looking at that at the first of the year.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
But if
So
you look at this,
wave.com.
the green bar is what comes in and the
Runs P&Ls.
gray bar is what goes out, and that shows you the last 12 months and gives you a graph. So I think it, unless you're running a corporation, I think it's actually,
Is it a formula?
is it a what?
A formula?
No, it just,
That's just coming out of your bank account. based
yeah,
on
just,
you-
it looks at, that's just strictly what, everything that came into the bank and went out.
I think it's a menu item.
Mhm.
So you don't have to, it's not like Excel where you have to
No,
run
no, there's no
formulas.
formulas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Terry just
Okay,
found on
so
here
I'm
that for
assuming in
the
this, you
payroll
can see
on
it
either
online.
plan, that way it starts
You
at
can
$20
see your
a
money
month.
going
Oh,
into your
geez, that's
checking
cheap.
account because
Yeah,
it's
so it
attached
depends,
to
I
it,
guess,
right?
on how many employees
So
you
I
Right.
have
can go over
Mhm.
here
is the
Right.
charge.
to transactions
Okay.
and
All right, so besides
There's all my bank
Quicken and
transactions.
QuickBooks and QuickBooks Online and the Wave,
and if I want to, I
Let
just
me
check
clarify,
it
$20
When I-
extra a month in
Yeah.
addition to the
when I
16.
go to,
right, no, yeah, I
at the
understand.
end of the
Yeah,
month. I just check.
yeah. What
And
other
sometimes
software
maybe I go
packages
in
are
here
folks
and
using?
say That was whatever category I want.
Joetta?
I know you just have one.
You use,
I just go
Yeah.
to school with my computer or with my calculator.
okay, all right.
I
Well,
create my own
mhm.
and I can have it done fairly shortly and also put out
We haven't.
a report that tells you what the percentage where we're sitting at.
Mhm.
And it takes me, as long as the numbers add up, as always, for anybody, even with your checkbook,
Right,
less than an hour to do the whole thing.
perfect.
And I know, the reason I do that is because I know where all the money is. I know what it is. I tried QuickBooks.
Mhm.
We don't speak the same language.
Okay,
And I finally said, if you really want it done, you gotta find somebody else to do it. Because it's not gonna be me.
yeah,
And
okay.
so
So what'd she do?
create my own
She
and,
does it on her
yeah,
own.
so I do it old school.
Okay. Well, when I was going to school and, one of the kids said, well, do we have to know how to do it on the green sheets? Oh, good Lord, I'm dating myself here, but
That was a dating because I remember the green. tea.
yeah. And the professor said, you need to be able to explain to somebody how you came up with those numbers. And so whether you do it on the green sheets, Excel, or software, you need to be able to say how you came up with those numbers. So whatever works for you, but you should know how to explain it to somebody. So
I keep green sheets. I have a pad of them that I
Mhm.
keep because, with the Historical Society, because it's so massive.
yeah.
There's so much. Sometimes I need to go back and check myself.
Mm-hmm.
And writing it out, it's a lot more than.
Fortunately, QuickBooks Online seems to meet the diocesan purposes. So because there's no way in God's green earth we use green
Well,
sheets
that's
for
what
that.
we
Yeah.
use is QuickBooks Online, but
Yeah.
sometimes you need to be able to say, okay, maybe this wasn't exactly right. You want to see,
Looks odd.
Is it
Yeah.
in the right
Yeah.
spot?
Mhm.
and sometimes it's just easier to handwrite it, especially if we've been trained that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was too.
Any other software packages people are using? Excel? Okay, good. What other questions? What were you going to say, Pam? You said it wasn't your turn, but it's your
No,
turn.
no, I just meant, would that wave, we have a Apple laptop that is supposed to be just great.
Yeah.
Could I use it?
Yes,
Yeah,
because that's
so
what I have.
It's
Because-
as good as your
because-
browser.
Because
Mm-hmm.
our regular desktop is I told you, bajillion years old. So upgrading would be a good thing.
This is an Apple.
Okay.
And that's what I use. Mac, yeah, or MacBook, I think it's called.
Because no one's using it. We just bought it and then haven't used it.
That's no fun.
It might be old by now,
Yeah.
2 years, and doesn't know anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What other questions? Yes.
On the transmittal form that
Yes.
goes to the diocese,
Mm-hmm.
is there a newer version after 2022?
Oh yeah.
Or we've
yeah.
just been crossing out the year and
Yeah.
putting the new year on?
Yeah, we do it every year. I don't think there's any changes to the one coming out for 2025. I don't believe so. So I'll probably just take the 2024 and put 5 and send it back out to you.
That might be helpful to get a 2024.
Okay. And I have your email on here, Mary, right? I'll be sending it out to everyone anyway, so, yes, okay, good, good. Okay, what else is on your mind? Yeah, please.
Sylvia Miller from St. Thomas. The capital reserve funds, can that be used to apply for grant to upgrade the computer system?
Yes, it's a capital expenditure, yep.
Can those grant funds be matched with a grant from somewhere else?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, on there it says, let us know the source of your funding for your project. And so what we don't want to happen is we don't want you to say, well, we just want, the diocesan money now, we'll put that in the savings. And then like 6 or 12 months down the road, we'll have our money ready to go. So-
So Grace in particular needs their roof repaired really bad. And it's got those old slates.
Yeah.
And the historic preservation is a good place. And they allow you 3 years to make your,
That came out.
to finish using the grant, which
Oh.
is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they're a matching grant as well. So with that and historic preservation.
Yes. Yeah, and we don't, we send you everything. So if you ask us for $10,000 and we say, yes, you have $10,000, we send the $10,000. So. Good, yeah, well, so are you guys gonna do that? Have you
Yeah,
applied
we're
to
just
the?
in the beginning of it. So obviously I'm with the Canyon County Historical Society.
Mhm.
And through that, I have a whole list of places where you can get grants for historical purposes, which I've recommended for the Jerome Church because
Mhm.
that's an adorable little church.
Yes.
And it was the first one in Jerome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that Karen's also looking into. But if anybody wants, I can come up with, just find me somewhere and I can give you the information. I don't think I have it with me right now.
Okay, all right. So we bought Paradise Point in 1935. Would that qualify as a historical?
Well, it has to be probably a building.
Oh.
They don't really do the land.
Okay.
It's to preserve
Mm-hmm.
a building.
Okay.
You'd have to talk to, I think her name's Catherine.
I think St. David's used that for our windows.
Yeah.
We refurbished our windows, our stained glass windows, and we use that also.
They're great to work with, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they really were.
We-
In fact, we did it twice because we did X amount of windows up to the first 3 years and then reapplied and finished up our windows.
Yeah, we've used it for the gutters and the roof at the old Nampa train depot because we have a museum there. And now we want to do the bathrooms.
Great. Yeah,
That's a
good.
historical society.
Yeah, the Canyon County Historical Society.
What county are you guys in?
Gem.
Gem County. Okay.
Insurance.
Insurance. Ugh,
That's a dirty word.
it is a
So
dirty word.
ours went up 12% this year.
Yeah.
Do we have to have theirs, or can we go out and find our own?
Last time I heard.
I don't believe there's a canonical requirement that we have that.
I think it's a lot cheaper. I don't know that as a fact, but I think that their whole point is they realize that churches are not major going concerns financially, and so I think that theirs tends to be a lot cheaper. But I agree, I don't think there's some sort of canonical requirement that you use the church insurance fund.
I know there are actually churches that are not using the church insurance fund for that reason.
Right.
Yeah. So let me check with the bishop on that, and I will.
5%, that's good. 6, 12?
Have you had any
Ours is
claims?
15.
Have you had any claims
No.
over the last 5 years?
Nope, not a one. It just
Wonder
jumped
why that
12%
is.
this year.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
Because
across
we
the
have to pay
industry,
for all
though.
the fires and floods in other states.
I'm gonna say that's across the insurance industry. That's not just us.
I know it's incredibly good.
But my house insurance didn't go up 12%.
I was told.
There's a lot
But
more
liability
houses
insurance
than
has gone up across the board.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and take a look.
By whom?
church insurance agency.
Because the old treasurer used to do
I
it.
thought you did.
Yeah, she was-
Right, well, isn't that what they're talking about? Are they talking
Yes.
about different insurance?
No, they're talking
And-
about
And then you're
property,
saying we
yeah.
don't have to.
Well,
get
I
into
don't,
that?
I don't know. There's nothing in the
Insurance for the building
canons,
property.
so we need to, I'm gonna check with the
I
bishop.
just wanted to clarify.
And I'll send everybody
No,
an
float
email.
insurance.
Okay,
It's
because the last I heard,
I
original
know.
ascension
It's on
shopping,
this sheet. I was
but
like, I don't
then
think you get a
somebody,
choice on that.
then somebody
I
else
don't
said,
think so
well,
either.
it's
Yeah,
pretty
okay.
hard to.
That's what I understood also. So you're talking about whoever you contract
Probably
with.
not a good
maybe locally
call
for
for
insurance.
No.
Yeah, because right now it's through the church, yeah, the church insurance, national insurance.
We're still working on fire insurance for camp.
I
And
thought
we-
with the new pump station.
Well, so I let the guy know, our insurance guy, that we now have a pump at camp. And so he is going to approach a couple of companies and see if that's gonna bankrupt us or, if it's gonna be affordable.
If the new executive director becomes a volunteer fireman, will that help?
I was trained on the new pump.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There's a girl named.
There you go, you
woman
could be a
named
fireman.
Jessica Clark at Grace, who works for the state of Idaho doing insurance on the buildings.
And what's her name?
Jessica Carr.
Okay.
And she might be able to give some advice, some input, and check with me later. I'll give you her phone number.
Okay.
I do have a question on this clergy compensation chart. Is this based on full-time? If your clergy is full-time?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Because can I look at yours for a second? If
I'm not sure you have it.
That's not it. That's not it. This is it. If you look at, put my other two eyes on. Yeah, so if you look underneath on the back, there's supply clergy chart.
Okay.
So there you have the deacons and the priests, and one service and one sermon for the priest is mileage plus $160. Two services is mileage and $190.
But Karen has been part-time,
Well, but
and I think
yeah,
Fabio is gonna be part-time.
I don't.
Actually,
so.
you got, that's gonna be a whole different thing. Never mind that, because he's gonna cover Jerome. But, so I'm just curious, because Karen's been part-time, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, it just doesn't look like the right numbers, but,
So is this a change for next year?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
then we've been paying a certain amount
yeah.
percentage, so if it's one Sunday, or no, if it's two Sundays. I don't know.
Right, if it's two
But it
services
seems to
on
me
Sunday,
like
it's a
if this
different
is a
amount.
minimum,
Oh,
is this
So this is
a
the
minimum?
one
okay.
service, one
How
sermon.
many services per Sunday?
So your
I'm
suggested
not-
minimum, is that considered a full-time priest or a
Okay.
part-time priest?
Full-time,
Full-time.
Yeah.
So somebody who's part-time would get a percentage.
yes. Mhm.
Somebody
And that's not
told
on here
me that
anywhere.
you never pay deacons.
Well, that policy has changed, as evidenced by this policy here.
So this is gonna be 2025,
Correct.
so I haven't made a dollar dime mistake yet, but I will. Is that it?
You haven't made a dollar dime?
Well, we have Mary, who is a deacon now.
Mm-hmm,
She's coming to us
mm-hmm,
once a month now.
mm-hmm.
And I said to somebody, do you pay them? And then I tried to look it up and they said, no, but I should be paying.
Yes. Uh-huh. And I believe on the back of the 2024 policy, you'll see that there's someplace to pay
A
them.
spot too?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Can we also get this electronically?
Yes. Mhm. Do you have the app, the diocesan app?
Uh-huh.
Okay, we'll probably be posting it on there, and we'll be posting it on the website.
So Kurt, the reason that insurance rates for churches are higher is because those buildings tend to be older. They tend to need more repairs. They tend to have more diverse groups in them as opposed to like your home, so those are, and there's also the historical value. They also tend to be more prone to natural disasters. That's why church insurance rates tend to be higher and go up more than your home insurance, for example.
Okay. Yes,
We were wondering what ASA means.
average Sunday attendance.
Oh. Yes, thank you.
Yes, I don't think it was defined anywhere in here.
And does that ASA include online, if you are doing services online?
I think we get this number from parochial reports. So if you
Probably,
include that in
yeah.
your parochial report, then it's included here.
Because that is a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we track it and it has been.
And what are you seeing?
You mean in terms of online?
Mhm.
Since the pandemic, well, of course, the whole thing started with the
Right.
pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty, still constant. I mean, the numbers really haven't fluctuated that much. And we've tracked it too, because we were a recipient of a Idaho Episcopal Foundation grant for upgrading that whole system.
Mm-hmm.
And those numbers have, even since the pandemic, have stayed pretty much the same in terms of the online audience versus Sunday morning.
So how many folks do you think you get on a Sunday?
You mean online?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's slightly average. I mean, it slightly varies, but I think now we probably get 20 maybe.
Oh, wow. That's
I mean,
great.
but,
That is great.
but is it great? I mean, those are people that could be in your, you know, in your sanctuary too.
Mhm.
I mean, there's lots of different ways to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
we track ours also, but one thing that is good for is like, you have a cabin or a vacation place and you're someplace else on Sunday. You can just
get
log on
Exactly.
online, and which is what I do.
Mhm.
Or I would be there on Sunday morning, but, so that's when I watch it, is out when I'm out of town.
So do you give people the ability to, listen, we're treasurers here, right? Do you give the ability for people to make a donation online, either a QR code or PayPal link or
you know,
something?
that's a fancy question, but I actually think we do.
Okay,
That's
good,
great.
good.
We
Curtis, how
don't,
many
but
folks
we
do you?
should.
Yeah, you absolutely should.
What?
How many folks do you usually have attend online?
Between 3 and 5.
Okay, good. That's
Pretty
great.
consistent.
Yeah, that's great.
Except most of the people that view St. Mary's online are already pledging to us.
Okay.
They
great.
just aren't in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Very
would-
seldom do we have somebody there that we don't know.
I would still put the QR code on there or something in case somebody says, well, I got a bonus this week. Maybe I'll pay an extra $20 or something. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Right. Love that homily. Yeah.
So this ASA is strictly your normal Sundays, not Christmas, not Easter,
Yes,
not
yes.
baptisms and
correct.
Well,
weddings,
it's average Sunday
just-
attendance.
and
Yeah.
normal Sunday.
Mhm.
Okay.
So,
And what if, so what, I mean, this is just suggestive then, correct? Because
Mhm.
what if your church amount is higher or lower?
if it's higher, keep going, you know? If it's, you know, and some churches may not be able to afford this. But we get a lot of calls saying, well, what do you recommend? So that was the genesis for this document was, you know.
Tell them Barb said that paying too much will cut your.
No, not me. Yeah, no, in fact, I was all for deacons getting paid because they work as hard as the
Yeah.
priests do,
Yeah.
you know, preparing us. Canon, Emily still here.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
They work as hard as the priests do, preparing their homily, their sermon, etc. And now it's wonderful with the fact that they get to have a communion service, which is great. And so very exciting
Right.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a fun part right
Mhm,
there.
it
That's,
is.
That's great.
It is. It's wonderful. Yeah. Okay. What else you have going on?
What is the range? On this chart? Is that based on like the church size or everything?
Yes, and that, yes, so they have, right, and so that is, So that, of course, there's only the bishop and the canon, so that would be range number 1. And then it depends on your income, actually, revenue. We just have a few minutes left. Are there any other questions or things you, beg your pardon?
The treasury section seems a lot shorter.
Yes, yes, it's always a good thing.
Just worded a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no other instructions on it really, so that's about it. So hopefully they're pretty clear.
So is this manual the current, the 2000, I think it's 2019, is this current for business methods?
I have not received any updates.
Updates?
Yeah.
I was looking up the insurance in here and it doesn't specify, it just says that there's a canon that says you have to have adequate insurance.
Okay.
And that all buildings in their content shall be kept adequately insured, and also Title I, Canon 7 states that your treasurers and your custodians, other than banking institutions, shall be adequately bonded, except treasurers of funds that do not exceed $500 at any one time during the fiscal year. And they just, so it's left up to, it seems to me, it's left up to each congregation to determine, as long as you meet the requirements. And they have a lot more about it, like risk and physical assets and, that goes into it. So
Okay.
it doesn't seem like you have to belong to the church.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
How long should records be kept?
In the back of that manual that you has.
I've never seen them.
Yeah.
Really?
I've never seen it either.
You print it online. Oh,
If you go to the Episcopal Church website
okay.
and
The National Church.
Well, it's international.
BFMS.
Yeah.
.org.
So it's
no,
theepiscopalchurch.org.
What's
And-
that book called?
Yeah.
It's
and-
called Manual of Business Methods in Church Affairs. There is one prior to this, 2019, because there was an old one in my church too.
Right.
This is the latest.
And I believe, I haven't checked the website lately, but we did actually upload that version and the Spanish one to the website.
To the
Diocesan, diocesan website. If it is not there, I will make sure it's there.
So you can
And,
read it on there and not have to print it?
Yes?
I refer to it a lot, but that's because I'm an English teacher. And I'm kind of person, not a math person, I balance my own checkbook, but I'm not a bookkeeper per se. I'm the senior warden, I guess. Go.
Well, and as hard as I try to get away from the paper, sometimes it's really nice to have that paper. And so
I take this book home with me sometimes and then take it back. Then when I can't sleep at night.
I was going to say, do you have insomnia? Is that what's going on?
I do.
Because
I
honestly,
have for a
yeah.
couple of years.
Yeah.
So what does that book say for how long you keep?
Well, it's probably a 10-page document in the very back and with very small writing. And so there's a
Still a
Records
2019
management is
edition.
in chapter 9.
Actually, is Hagerman here this week? Dean?
Dean? I don't think so.
No.
You have a custodial responsibility.
So you have to keep it longer than the federal government wants you to keep?
No, I wouldn't think so. It's in this section.
Yes.
This, I'm in records, I'm in records management right here. I was just looking for a date. You should have a backup somehow. Secure storage, minimum retention, minimum. I'm assuming this is years, it just says numbers after it. Accounts payable, operational 7.
7?
7. Assessment data 5, audit papers 4, balance sheets monthly, destroy after 2 years. Yeah, this sheet explains it. It's in chapter 9 in that manual, and it tells you things like destroy after 7 years. Bank deposit books, 7 years. So destroy after 7. Slips, bank slips, destroy after 4. Bank statements, destroy after 7. So it looks like the maximum is 7 anywhere.
Okay. So there should be some coverage cleaned out.
We've got some of St. Mary's too.
But don't you have to keep payroll for longer than that?
Long
Federal
time,
law.
yeah,
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 so
long
don't
time.
be chucking everything.
In fact, I think payroll may be forever.
I thought it was 15 years, but I could be wrong.
I'm looking on the website now to see if it's on there.
15, that seems crazy. Why?
That could be wrong. It could be 10. I don't remember.
Personnel files is 10 years.
Manual of Business
Okay.
Methods.
And
So if you go to, on the Episcopal Church in Idaho, so episcopalidaho.org, and go under Resources, you'll see Constitution and Canons. So you have the Diocese of Idaho Canons, the Manual of Business Methods, and the Episcopal Church Canons. And so that document, thank goodness, is on, and it links it to the finance office of the Episcopal Church, and you can get the Manual of Business Methods. It looks like we have a 3/28/24 revision. There's also, it's in Spanish as well. So you can download those and take a look at that.
So payroll records depends on which law you're worrying about. Fair Labor Standards Act, 3 years. Equal Employment Opportunity Act is 1 year. IRS wants you to keep them for 6 years. So I think good idea is 7.
Yeah, at least.
Are you talking about keeping it in the file in the office or keeping it staged?
Something you can access that if somebody asks for it, you can turn it over.
Keep it in your file cabinet. So I work for the government, so
They do everything at least in triple.
yeah, we can keep it in the drawer for a year or so, but then we stage it. We put it in the staging for 10 years.
Right.
And then we have to send it to
Archives.
DC, for them to do all that stuff.
Well, they have P's after some of those. You guys don't want to know that P stands for permanent.
Yeah.
And there's something, payroll registers, summary, schedule of earnings and deductions and accrued leave time has a P after it, but then it says transfer to archives, retain year-end cumulative inclusive report on all employees.
That means staging for 10 years. We can do it 10 years. Because we come back and audit you anytime.
Well, and I can understand they're gonna come back and audit the government or contractor, but I can't see that they're gonna come back and audit our code. I just really.
So I'd just be interested in hearing from people that if you have a vacancy of a treasurer,
Mm-hmm.
how do they go about recruiting a new one?
Okay, good question.
Baseball bat. Guilt.
We use
That's, yeah. Guilt's a good one.
We use wine.
Wine. That sounds good.
Gonna say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would put it out to see if anybody is even remotely interested. And you have to, so when we were looking, I thought it would be something, the parish thought it'd be something good for my son. He's
Oh.
good with numbers. And I put my hand up and said, no. I
I
go,
was gonna say.
Mackenzie's 25. He doesn't need to be doing this till he's 70.
Right.
And I go, he's got more stuff to do. He doesn't need to worry about this. So,
Okay.
but you kind of have to ask and say, who wants to do it?
Hmm.
I took it over and because you kind of look around and go, can anybody else do it? Does anybody else want to do it? And then you kind of go, no. and you can put your hand up, you know?
Sigh.
See if somebody's got a passion for it,
Yeah.
you know?
I keep a list of people in the parish who I find out are CAs and stuff. We just have it, just in case
Yeah.
our current treasurer decides he doesn't want to do it. So.
Yes.
Mhm. I would certainly start with your vestry and ask them if they know anyone, and then, yeah, put it out there.
And it doesn't have to be somebody from the parish. I
True.
mean, if somebody's wanting a community service project and wants to help out, then that could be an avenue as well. Because, you know, especially a smaller parish, we've got older people in it that don't want to be sitting there hashing on a computer or long form or anything else for an hour at a minimum, if not 2 or 3. And if it's the end of the year, trying to get year-end financials done, 3 or 4.
Did John Miller make it to convention this year?
He did not, he's sick.
Oh.
His wife is in his place.
Oh, okay, good,
Carolyn's sick.
good, okay.
We pay someone, not a lot. And she doesn't go to our church. She goes to the one across the road. But she took a part-time job doing another Episcopal church over in Alpha, Vermont.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so-
Oh,
Well, and she has the fact that you can do stuff online.
right.
Yes.
Most of everything.
And who is that?
Her name is Janet Miller.
Okay.
She's an accountant.
Uh-huh.
She had her own business and still does books for it out of Mexico. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. But she, don't steal her.
No, no.
Not
No.
us and St. Francis and
Yeah,
I'm
No, I
not
won't.
gonna be the treasurer. I mean, co-senior warden and everything else is too much.
Okay,
No priest and, yeah.
okay.
And I work full-time.
Do you have a call out for a priest?
Well, yeah, we talked to the bishop. He's been, we're looking, everybody's looking, but we're not the only one. There aren't a lot of priests over in southeast Idaho, eastern Idaho.
There's one paid clergy in the Eastern Deanery.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Well, it
She
is,
goes 3 places that I know of.
a little-
No, 4.
sorry, it's a little after 4:30, so I know that we could spend much more time talking about finances. But I appreciate very much your time. I hope this was beneficial.
Yes.
I don't know how you feel about sharing the information here, your contact information. If you don't want it shared, please let me know. Otherwise, I don't, like I said, I want to make the diocese this big. And
So I have a question about sharing. Are you talking about posting it or just sharing?
no,
Yeah,
no, it would be an email.
That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some of us didn't sign it.
Okay.
So and I have to tell you,
Did you sign
No, I didn't either. I'll catch it when it comes back.
And Janet is a book
find it for
already. So we pay the bookkeeper, but not our treasurer.
Okay.
No.
Great. Who? Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Mhm. Yeah.
So then, I guess Y2.
Well, Susie's done it for a long time, but she didn't want to come to that meeting and she didn't want to like have the best.
You have a EIN?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jessica Carr, C-A-R-R.
Okay, and this is the lady that works with the state
She
of
works for
Idaho?
the state of Idaho. She makes sure that all the insurance